Well, we ready to do this thing one more time this evening. We're live. This is the replay, so buckle up. We're about to get into this part two, and we're going to talk about a little bit of sports. So stay tuned, buckle up. Here we go, y'all. Good evening once again. I'm your host, Jabril A. Rashad, a.k.a. Real Deal Jabril. And this is another edition of the replay where we're still trying to make your day, the Sports Culture Show. And if you all don't mind, please hit the subscribe, like, and share button for me as we'll continue to grow the channel. So, guys, we're going to get into this part two in just a second regarding the tragedy, death, the shooting of Dallas police officer Darren Burks. And I have a special guest that will be joining us in just a few minutes. Who's going to speak on behalf of the Moore Science Temple, just so you all have a better understanding of this terrible incident, providing some insights. So just bear with us just a second before we do that. What I want to do, I know y'all don't see my co-host. I didn't say anything about Daryl Alexander the Great or Mr. Tim Action Jackson. I know that game is on as well, but y'all see your boys in the house because I'm committed. But it's all good. I'll be picking it up the second half. I know you got the Baltimore Ravens visiting the Kansas City Chiefs playing this evening, and it's all good. I got the Chiefs. I already picked the Chiefs, while the other two, well, I can't speak for Action Jackson. He didn't turn his in, I don't think. But I know DA is pulling for those Ravens, man. So we'll see. But meanwhile, it is Thursday night football. The NFL season have kicked off. And again, as I said, you got the Baltimore Ravens playing the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think the game right now is 10-7 KC way. So I just want to show a little bit of the excitement for this year's 2024 NFL season. And just check this clip out.
Tonight in Arrowhead Stadium, more than 70,000 cheering fans will be on their feet as their Kansas City Chiefs look to build upon their Super Bowl dynasty. Mahomes plays it. It's there! The already legendary tandem of quarterback Patrick Mahomes and tight end Travis Kelce will drive the offense as last season's champs remain the team to beat.
Get it out! Move it! Go out there and break that!
Their first challenge coming from one of their biggest division rivals, the Baltimore Ravens.
Jackson seeking the back of the end zone.
An already strong squad led by two-time league MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson. The Ravens adding some firepower in the offseason, signing star running back Derrick Henry. Both teams ready for battle.
The uprising begins now.
Posting hype videos to rally their fans
as we set out to conquer all.
Tonight's matchup will be followed tomorrow night with the Green Bay Packers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Sao Paulo, the first NFL game ever played in Brazil. Then Sunday, football is back with the rest of the league kicking off the regular season. Fans might notice some very big changes, especially during kickoffs when teams will line up closer to each other in the hopes of creating more exciting returns and fewer injuries. And speaking of safety, at least one player said he plans to wear what's called a guardian cap over his helmet for extra protection. This is the first year they're allowed.
So as y'all can see, that game is very well underway right now, and again, I think Kansas City is leading that game. I'll be jumping back on the second half, but I had to jump on here and do this part two of evening's show, tonight's show regarding the part two of Officer Darren Burks. We'll certainly talk about that and bring the special guests on who will be joining us in just a second here. Brother Marcus-Bey will be joining the Replay Culture Sports Show this evening. So for those of you all who are coming on, welcome to the show. Again, I'm your co-host and the host. Jabril, I like to say it like that sometime because I got my guys that's working on here with me. So we all co-host, but it has to be someone that, directs the show. So, but anyway, I want to talk about this NFL season real quick. I'm going to go ahead and put my picks in real quick since we got to get to this other thing. And with the games that are coming up today, tomorrow, as you heard them say, Green Bay. Let's see who we got. You got Green Bay playing the Philadelphia Eagles on tomorrow, I believe. So I had the Kansas City Chiefs tonight, and I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers in that game on tomorrow. I got the Texans over the Colts. I will have the Cardinals over the Bills. I got the Titans over the Bears. I got the Cleveland Browns over the Dallas Cowboys. That may be a shocker to you all. Normally, I would take the Cowboys, but I'm going to take the Browns, Cleveland Browns at home. And I'm going to take the New York Jets over the Niners. All right. And then I'm going to get to the college part in just a second here. But let me show another clip from the college ranking before I actually get those picks in real quick.
Field. Colorado had the last lap, though, winning 36-14. Now, this year, the coaches heaped praise on one another, avoiding any chance of providing bulletin board material for the other team. However, Nebraska linebacker Marcus-Bey missed that memo. Take a listen.
Does Phil facing Dylan help in the sense that, like, you know, I mean, he can throw. I'm sure he can throw. But Dylan can throw, too.
Yeah, you can't compare Dylan to Shaquille Simmons. Don't do that. That's Dylan is a different man. The way he played, when he go out there and attack.
How are they different?
Just Dylan is a dog. Just know that. We'll see on Saturday.
And of course, that's the college rankings. You're gonna have a big game between the Colorado Buffaloes. They will be going in to play Matt Rule and those Nebraska Cornhuskers. And you know what? Even though they're on the road, I know they're going into a hostile environment. I think I'm gonna have to still go with the Colorado Buffaloes. Yeah, I'm gonna take them. And we also talked about the other college games. Texas will be going on the road playing Michigan. I'm gonna take Texas in that game. Then you have Tennessee. The Volunteers are going into North Carolina State. Both those teams are ranked. And I'm going to take Tennessee. And you got Oklahoma State going into Arkansas. I'm going to take Oklahoma State. And last but not least, Georgia Tech going into Syracuse. Georgia Tech is ranked. They knocked off Florida State first game of the season. But you know what? I'm going to go with Syracuse in a surprise upset over Georgia Tech. So those are my college and NFL games that's coming up this week, the second week. So we're going to go ahead and turn the page real quick because I got a special guest that I want to bring to the stage that's going to be joining us this evening to talk about, again, the situation that occurred a few days ago. Very horrible, tragic situation. But this brother that I'm bringing to the stage, I've known him for quite some time. And when I saw some of the information that they was putting into the feed out there in social media and on television, I had to reach out to him. I had to reach out to him and bring him on to the show this evening just so we can set the record straight. Before I do that, I want to share an interview he's already done with Channel 8 News just the other day. And I want to share that video with you all, and we're going to bring him to the stage.
The fez on his head, Corey Cobb-Bey believes he's being followed.
You see, they some demons, you see? They right there. Just following me for no reason. Like these demons for the pay, bro. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, bro.
I hadn't been in contact with him, goodness, in over 7 years.
Today, another man in a matching fez.
Horrific incident, a tragic incident.
Asked for a chance to respond.
It leaves you numb. It leaves you in a state of confusion. Why would this happen? Why did this happen?
Marcus-Bey represents the Moorish Science Temple of America, a religious group with the words Bey or El added to their names, recognizing a Moroccan heritage.
We are Moorish Americans. We're law-abiding citizens.
He says the gunman who executed Officer Darren Burks, then died in a hail of bullets several miles later, was not one of his true faith.
Our core principles are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
The Southern Poverty Law Center has classified an offshoot of Moorish sovereign citizens as an extremist anti-government group. Investigators, including the ATF, are tracking where Cobb-Bey got his guns. We are still trying to get those answers too. But Marcus-Bey, who says he did meet the alleged gunman a few times several years ago, now fears just the appearance of a man in a burgundy fez will cause alarm for citizens and police.
So it was important for me to let the city that I come from, the city that I love, the city that I'm here working in, no, we do not at all encourage or support those actions.
Actions that a city, a police force, and a small religious community are trying to understand. In Oak Cliff, I'm Kevin Reese.
So that's my good brother, my good friend, Marcus-Bey, and I want to bring him to the stage right now. and welcome him in so we could talk about this horrible traffic. Good evening to you, my brother. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings be upon you, my brother.
Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah barakatuhu. What's going on, Coach?
Man, let me tell you something. I'm happy, man. Thank you for coming on, joining me this evening, man, to be able to talk about this horrible tragic part 2 here as it relates to former Dallas police officer Darren Burks. And I know that you felt the same way that I felt. And one of the things I wanted to do when I saw them mention the Moore Science Temple was definitely to reach out to you and give you an opportunity to come on to the show and discuss what the Moore Science Temple organization have always been about, first and foremost.
Yes, sir.
And this is just not you sharing the information, but it's through my own studies, I've been very, very aware of the Moore Science Temple for over 30 years or better. So I know that they are a spiritual organization. But again, I want you to be able to share your insights, your position, and your feelings, and not feel like you have to rush, because I know sometimes when the news media get out there, they only take little snippets of what you say. You say more. So I want to provide you with the platform to be able to educate the public about this terrible tragedy that happened and took place several days ago.
Yes, sir, man. Gratitude to you, brother, too, because you're taking your platform and you're taking an issue which is affecting us all. No one in the immediate sports world may not feel the effects of it, but any and every citizen in the city of Dallas has felt the effects of it and will continue to feel it for a while. So hats off to you. Definitely appreciate it. You know what I mean? And I admire you, and I truly support you, big bro. And I definitely thank you because, again, I think, if there's any questions specifically, then we'll do that. As you said, the organization is over 100 years old. It's a religious corporation. Any so-called Asiatic man or North American.
Okay, let's just say let me have a temporarily technical problem, difficulty here. Let me bring him back up. He'll probably be able to join us back in. Let me get him back on just a second. So bear with us just a second here. Okay, I think he's able to okay, here we go again. No problem, just a little technical difficulty. Go ahead and finish what you were saying, brother.
Yeah, you start coming in too fast. Let me take my time. Like you, I was aware of the Moore Science Temple of America, came across the Moore Science Temple of America. And let me say, for me personally, a lot of people may ask, well, who is he? I believe when you met me still in my prime of teaching. I'm still teaching children, still working with the children. And that was over 20 years ago. And I'm still in that same demonstration. My background here in Dallas is still that. I work with the city of Dallas, have been for over 3.5 years now as an educational artist in the city, teaching history, working with our children, encouraging our children, mentoring our children, and working in a capacity as well. I also work in a law enforcement capacity on a Monday through Friday basis. And I happen to have had the privilege to have worked with some of DPD's finest constables, sheriffs, officers, marshals, and even some of our forest, what do they call them? I can't even think of them. They're hottest ones on the land. And I've had the privilege to work with them over the last year. Our rangers and our marshals.
Okay. Our rangers, right. Okay.
So saying all of that is that when this happened, and this is a week ago today, it will be in a few hours. Of course, it all started last week, Thursday. And being in Oak Cliff, have been in Oak Cliff a good portion of my life when I lived in Dallas. Of course, I immediately got it. And as it came closer and as I realized who the assailant or whom the alleged was, it was immediately close to home. It was too close to home. And I didn't want any type of get back, if there's so to say. I know that a lot of people are hurt emotionally. And when those times are going on, a lot of things can happen. So quickly, I wanted to issue a public service announcement just from my position in office from the Morris Science Temple of America. I've been in the Morris Science Temple of America for well over close to 15 years. And you and I, we initially met through Al Islam. And if it's not for Al Islam, I wouldn't probably even know of, the Morris Science Temple of America. But that's another story for another day. Saying all of that, when this occurred, it was important for me to issue a statement. It was important for me to contact the media before any type of attachment could be attached to the Morris groups or movement for me here in Dallas, because of my own safety and because of my own family's safety and because those around me, I had to address and say something immediately. I didn't have any fear or thoughts in regards to writing the letter, because that's what I'm supposed to do as a so-called leader. And then at the same time, I had no recall with giving an interview like I'm doing with this one. This one's a lot more comfortable because I'm with my brother. However, saying that, I definitely wanted to make sure that people knew that, yes, there was a slight contact with Brother Marcus-Bey. There was nothing that led into anything major. I won't have the privilege and ability to say I've known him for any length of time other than the time that I had with him, and which was very brief. The last time I saw him was probably at the latest 2018. I hadn't seen him, been in contact with him since. He was not an active member amongst us. He wasn't sitting with us, rotating with us. I wasn't teaching him, working with him, any of those type of things. And I say that not in a braggadocious or separation way, but because to an extent, I feel that if I could have been able to do that and give him the proper teachings of the Morris Science Temple of America and actually explain to him versus allowing YouTube or Google or even his own approbation, we probably could have saved the situation. So I had to deal with that,
For those of you all who are joining us, this is the Replay Sports Culture Show where we're still trying to make your day. And we have Brother Marcus-Bey, who's of the Morris Science Temple, and he wants to set the record straight. This is a spiritual organization. Let me underline that, a spiritual organization that's over 100 years old, and its origin dates all the way back to Noble Ali and the teachings that he brought originally, I think around about 1913 when the organization was actually founded. And this is a spiritual organization. They don't promote violence. They are more so about civics, understanding who you are and how you should actually operate under government in this particular society. So continue, Brother Bey.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. Gratitude. Definitely largely civic. And then we formed as a religious corporation so that we can protect the rights to teach and learn from a civic organization's perspective. That's just constitutional. And that in itself is a lawful act. And when you have the protection to teach, because the Constitution says so, then you are allowed to teach properly our nationality and our divine creed. You're allowed to teach us back to the original religion, which is Islamism, which is put us back in the fold of our ancestors for there. So, there's a lot of intricate parts to the Morris Science Temple of America, but the religion is Islamism first and foremost. That's been one of my first things that I have attempted to correct within the media. Morris Science is not a religion. The religion is Islamism. It says so in the lessons. It dates back to 1913 in Newark, New Jersey. In 1928, we were filed and recorded in Cook County Recorder of Deeds in the state of Illinois. And we've sat there ever since. For those who know law and during the times at a time, the state of Illinois was the nation's capital. So a lot of things were occurring during that time. And I say that because the last time we've been in a situation like this country was at war with itself. We were at a war between the North and the South, between those that wanted to end slavery and those that wanted to keep slavery going. And what I'm saying is that the energy that we are in right now, currently is that very same energy where the country is on edge with itself. So when you have these type of actions where it's unwarranted, unexpected, uncalled for, and of all people, by someone who deems to be taught the lessons of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, nobody's thinking about somebody walking up on me at any time of day or night and me taking them as a threat. So, I feel horrible personally because, again, like I said a second ago, it was unwarranted. It was uncalled for, and trying to figure out why this occurred. We'll never get that answer. Trying to figure out what the brother was going through to push him to that point. We'll never get that answer. But if I can make sure to know that those who may be concerned with a brother in affairs, he's not thinking about executing a police officer. And, our goal now will be to enforce those same principles that we've been taught and that we are teaching, but we're going to do that from a community outreach standpoint. You've got to get back in the community. We're going to work with brothers such as yourself. If it's sports, to get their attention so that we can start to teach them and start to give them a better understanding of themselves, then we'll start there. If it comes down to the aspect of working with the communities and organizations that are already in place within the city of Oak Cliff and within the county of Dallas, then we're going to work with them. We're going to work with the proper people in the right places to make sure that we can repair the relationship that has been stained and tarnished here in this city. And it's important for me to see that. The legacy of Brother Darren Burks shall continue to live on. That brother, as far as what we read in his backstory, there could be no better brother in the city. Those are the type of brothers that we're looking to do things for. The type of brothers that, would give up one career to go start another career, all for the benefit of the community. So, to have this happen and occur in our city, this is our city, man, a beautiful city. Despite the moniker that's been on this city since 1964, despite the things that go on in the city of Dallas, this is still a beautiful city. And we know that. That's why we're still here. That's why we still keep going back to work with our children. That's why we still keep going back to work where we graduated from and work in areas where people know us. It's not because we're comfortable. It's because we love being in Dallas. And that's another reason why everybody's moving here. So when you have this type of thing happen, in the city, imagine if nobody has spoke up. Imagine if we just allowed the media to run their own narrative and demonstration in regards to what's being taught out here in the city of Dallas.
Right.
That's a tarnish to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali itself.
Right. Well, before I want to show another clip to support your position. And before I do, I want to say that Imam Yahya Abdullah sends you the greeting because he definitely remembered you.
Man.
And you work with the children. Absolutely. And you work with those students, man, those young children, man. Many who have gone, on to college and have done wonderful and great things and are continuing to do that. And you taught math at the school. So I know your history. And like I said, we've known each other for quite some time now. But I want to show a brief clip of one of the Grand Supreme Sheikhs out of Chicago, Illinois, to support the position of what you're saying.
Okay.
I think you all are misunderstood because from the public's perspective, you see some black men with red vests under the appellation of mowers. People who are squatting in people's homes and claiming ownership of someone else's home under the indigenous, claimant of this is our soil. How does that make you feel when you see these folks under the appellation of Moor conducting themselves in this way?
Those people who say that they are Moors are telling the truth because they are Moors, but they are not
Moorish Americans cannot. Moorish Americans don't do those kind of things. And it's written in our laws. We don't take people's property. We don't beat people in the head. And we're not anti-American. We're not, as they say, against America. This is not.
That's the Grand Supreme Sheikh. The brother, I think his name is
Marcus-Bey.
Yeah, Braswell Bay. Braswell Bay. Yeah, I wanted to show that clip also. Let me bring my I think I heard my co-host click in. Let me go ahead and bring him to the stage because I know he was involved in that game. Good evening to you, brother Daryl.
Hey, what's going on, man? How y'all doing? I would have waited, man. You didn't have to buzz me. I would have waited till y'all finished.
Yeah, well, I want to go ahead and bring you to the stage, man, because we into this thing now. We're joined by a good brother, man, Marcus-Bey, man. I've been knowing this brother for over 15, nearly 20 years.
Right
and
what's up, brother?
You know,
how you doing, sir? Good evening.
Good. And for those of you who are still joining us and coming on, we're talking about the tragic death of Officer Darren Burks. This is part 2. Everyone, unless you've been sleeping under a rock or something, have heard about this horrible incident. And we're going to get into the actual individual a little bit because I also have the clip of what his father said in regards to him. And I know, like you said, you knew Marcus, both individuals, Officer Darren Burks as well as Corey Cobb-Bey. And like you said, you hadn't seen him in quite some time and just did not know or can't understand what happened to him and what led him to do something of this magnitude. So again, I wanted to be able to show that particular clip and video because you all, again, you are a spiritual organization. I've known this, like I say, for years, and I've had plenty of brothers and friends, man, who are part of the organization, and I know what the organization stands for. And I'm honestly, I can't recall of a time in the history of me knowing the organization where I've read, heard anything of this magnitude. So again, we want to set the record straight, and this is what we're trying to do this evening, part 2. So you can continue, down that path in terms of Braswell Bay and what he spoke about in terms of the laws that are in the charter and what you all promote.
Absolutely. And that's a good video. That's a good brother. Simple, just from the aspect of one, man, we not to harm anybody. And again, going back to the aspect of it's a religious corporation and our religion is Islamism. Why do I say that? Because we teach from Quran. We derive our power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad. Why do I say that? Because if you see a Moorish American practicing Christianity, that's not correct. Why do I say that? Because the religion in Moorish Science Temple of America is Islamism. Does that mean that a Christian cannot proclaim their nationality? No, does not mean that. Because why? The Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the United Nations in certain aspects always tell us that nationality is the call of the day. I'm saying this why? Because if we really pay attention, I don't want to get away from the topic, but I want to explain as to why the Moorish Science Temple of America is even in existence, why it even exists to begin with. Because if you take a look at the current state of where we are right now, everybody is concerned with the documented aliens from other countries. Now, they show us one group of people, i.e. the Venezuelans or the El Salvadorians or the anything from Latin community. But do we understand that it's people from Kenya, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, China, Pakistan, Rwanda, Chile. It's people that are fleeing war-torn countries or fleeing countries for a better opportunity with no documents and no papers. Now, let me go back a little bit further. They've been doing that since Ellis Island. So you go through Ellis Island, you had to come through Ellis Island and do what? State your name and state your nationality. Why? Because we are taught in the Moorish Science Temple of America that man is known by his name and nationality. Well, where does the religion aspect comes into play? Because name and nationality is written in scripture. Every prophet came from a nation. That's Quran. The lineage of every tribe was given in the scripture. That's Testament. So if in the main religions, we know that nationality and the name of every man is going to be on earth, then we have to do that right now. So rewind to modern days times. Here comes Prophet Noble Ali, born in the state of North Carolina, 1886. Probably 1 year removed from a sharecropper, former slave, maybe. That's the backstory that we can speculate on. But we do that time, we know what was going on. Slavery had been on the land here in North America since 1600. The records prove that. Slavery had been going on here on the land since we had the Articles of Confederation. The wars proved that. This is why they had to what? Declare independence. And in order to declare independence, they had to what? Fight for their freedom. Now, I'm only saying all this history aspect to give an example as to why, again, organizations like the Moorish Science Temple of America exist and why we as Asiatics enter into this organization. To do what? Make us better people, make us better citizens, make us law-abiding citizens. We're not over here joining cults and sects to do things to make Kool-Aid, to kill a group of people on land. We're not over here telling people that we're going to go over here and buy land down here in Waco and then give me all your food stamp cards and all your retirement checks, get that all to me. And then we're going to get into a situation with the FBI and ATF. Why am I bringing up these stories in the past from Jim Jones and David Koresh? Because these are what they consider to be your modern Marxists and your modern socialists and your modern sovereign groups, all under the guise of what? Religion. Now here comes us, the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now you have these group of people who want to find way outs and certain things that they can do. So you want to squat in a house. You want to drive without a driver's license. You want to tell police that you don't need them, but every time you get a situation, you dial in 911. Like it don't make sense. That's not how America works.
Right.
This is why, you know, not just to make this point. Just this is why when you proclaim your nationality, there's two flags. If you're an Italian American, two flags. Kenyan American, two flags. What do we say? You can't be an African American. There's no possible way. There's no African flag. There are only 54 countries in the continent of Africa. Now, if you come from one of those countries, guess what you come with? A flag. Now, here we are, born here in America, been here. Majority of us were never brought here, but that's another story too. The American aspect, if it was not for, and I brought up again, where we are planetary-wise right now in these times, we're in a state of civil war. We're in a state of civil unrest. Wouldn't it make sense to have a civic organization that could help? Another reason why I said, listen, y'all can't put this on affairs wherein Moorish American had nothing to do with this, who's never thinking about this, because we have divine constitution and bylaws, 7 acts that tells us how to act. We have 5 core principles that tells us how to maintain. Like, sure. Why would Brother Jabril invite me out anywhere over 15 or 20 years and he know anytime I come out, I'm looking to start something with law enforcement. He don't never have no ID. He always wanted to tell us about some tax scheme or scam. That's not what we are about.
Right. Right. Let me interject something, because one of the things that you mentioned that gets a lot of flack, and I know why, because if you haven't studied the Pew organization, which is really a Zionist movement, who put a lot of rhetoric out there, who try to monitor what's going on within the United States, you'll come away with a misguided ideology of what this actually means. We talked about it very briefly a little over a month and a half or so ago. DA and I did, and I know he stated that his brother was sovereign and so forth, and you hear this word. Now, for me, and depending on who you speak with or talk with, you may get a variation of this particular word. But this word in the English translation has always resided in the Old Testament of the Bible, when God said he created man and made him the custodian over the earth. This was associated with Adam. Now, in the Quran, and I'll just read it, and I'm going to translate this because I want to read it in its original tongue, because it says, "What if qala rabbika la malaikati inni ja'alu fi ardi Khalifa 10. Khalifa 10. I'm gonna stop right there. And it's translated as, this is a high conversation that's taking place between Allah and the angels as it's being revealed to Muhammad the Prophet. It says, behold, your Lord said to the angels. Now, this is a conversation that's on high, right? I will create a vicegerent in the earth. And they wanted to know, what are you going to create? Something that's going to cause bloodshed in the earth? Now, God has freed, we have limited free will. Angels are locked under God's law. He gave them the opportunity to question things, though, at that moment. So in the process of saying that, God simply tells them, I know what you know not. So this vicegerent, this Arabic word called Khalifa 10, if you study the grammar, it has on there what is called ta marbuta, right? And ta marbuta, when you look at the Arabic word, it has what they call tanween nunation, and that's for those who study the grammar. It could be talking about male or female. A lot of times when you read the translation, they say, oh, that's for the male. No. It's for the sister too, because she can be a Khalifa 10, not just Khalifa. Now you're here in the media, they butchered, with this English tongue, caliphate. That's English, but the Arabic word is Khalifa. So one of the things that I distance myself with when I identify myself as sovereign, I'm only simply saying that God created me, and you can't tax what God created, because I'm a real life human being. I'm a blood man, right? Now you can tax everything else that's been manufactured, but the sovereign aspect of this, it runs deeper in my veins, in my blood, because God created me. You didn't give me life. God gave me life. So when they talk about sovereign citizen, first of all, nowhere in that verse did I read citizen. That's not in the Arabiya. It's not in there. So what do we get off saying I'm a sovereign citizen? No, that's an indoctrination to me, because I don't read it in the Bible, Old Testament, nor do I read it in the Quran. And so I had to address that, because you hear this, and oftentimes when like the reporter was saying in that video clip I just showed regarding Moore Science Temple, they'll try to spin it in such a way as if, are they a hate group, or what are they, or they, they going against government and they don't want to. No. You have to understand how to move in the matrix. Now we need the system. There's a verse in the biblical scripture when Jesus talks about the weeds and the seeds, and you can't eradicate and pull up the weeds because you want to kill the seeds. So what you have to do is grow together. We all are in this system together, but unfortunately, there are some of us who know how to move in the matrix, and some of us don't. We don't know how, because we don't understand really who we are. We have allowed individuals to usurp that, and we've given it over so-called representatives to represent us in the House of Congress or in the House of the Senate, instead of us making these decisions for ourselves. You can listen to an argument from both sides. Allah says it clearly in the Quran that we're from the middle. He said, I've created you from Uswatun Hasanah. You are the most excellent community from the middle course. So take the middle course. In other words, don't lean too far left and don't lean too far right. walk life with balance. They say it another way: don't get too far up and don't get too far down. Always have a calibrated scale to be able to have balance, and that's how you want to live your life. And so I had to bring that up. I want to continue to and get DA in on this because I know he was just joining us a little bit late. But I had to talk about that word because you brought it up, and I was listening to the brother was talking about it in the video, and some people will hear this word but not really understand the depths of it and think it's some word that just formulated out of the sky. And I'm telling you, it's been in scripture, both Bible and Quran, the whole time. You just been either misguided, misled, or it's been misinterpreted, and you don't understand yourself or see yourself as a sovereign created by nature's creator. That's the main thing. And if you turn that over to anybody, not just people, representing you in government or whatever, but anybody you give your mind to, that becomes your deity. And we know what the scripture says about shirk adding associates and partners with the Most High God, because God said first in the Bible, I am a jealous God. If you use that language, we know God is not jealous of none of his creation. He's the creator of the creation. So how would he be jealous? But that's the language they use. But he said, make no graven images of me. Okay, so the Quran comes to clear all of that up. That he has, never was he a child, he begets not, know he begotten. So it clears it up. So we don't add associates and partners and other deities with the Most High God. We just don't do it. So I want to be able to bring that in, and because I want to get into a transition a little bit here, and I want to go back to the brother statement regarding the reporter who you talked with from Channel 8, and when he was speaking about the Moorish Science Temple as it relates to Marcus-Bey, giving this false narrative of the Moorish Science Temple. But let's listen real quick to what his father have to say, and we can make some sense of this thing.
Feel like somebody was chasing him, like the police was after him, that day, and they didn't stop him or anything. But he's kind of on his Facebook page. I heard that he's talking about like demons or something like that. I don't know, how that came about.
That's not normal for him.
No, never normal for him.
Has he done, is there any connection possibly to like drugs or something?
I kind of think so. That's my thought on it. I think he might have smoked something that, was laced with something or something like that, because he's never act anything like that.
And you said he had lost his job recently. When did that happen?
It's been about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago. That's one thing I want to ask you. I mean, when you found out what they say he did.
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it myself, because he never behaved anything like that. He's always a, loving person. That's my baby boy. And
now, when I watched this interview, the first thing came to my mind, and D, I want you to jump in just a second here, because what came to my mind is how he was explaining how he get a knock at the door. Of course, he was living with his father. He's never been a problem to his father, according to what his dad was saying. But his father get a knock at the door by the DPD after all this happened. He really don't know what's going on, but I understand they have to do the investigation part of this. And when I thought about his dad, I can only we sure can't empathize. I can only try to have an understanding. Like, here it is sitting at you're in your house, you get a knock from law enforcement, and you're, like he said, this was my baby boy that went out and did something like this. So now your father had to sit there and try to explain all of what the world is going to see as a demonic act. And true enough, I think that something had to have taken place based on, what we're hearing in the media or what have you. But DA, I'm gonna come to you in that regards and share with the platform your feelings about it, being a father yourself, if you had a knock at the door as it relates to everything that took place.
Yeah, I could imagine it. Well, I can't because I hadn't gone through it, but just knowing the way my son is young, but just knowing the morals that I've already given him, and I'm not gonna ever tell him anything that's gonna hurt him or hurt. I'll tell him to defend himself, but I would never, so I know how he's feeling, because he's probably never ever
told his son anything like that. And we could tell. I mean, anybody who with a brain could look at his son's Facebook videos and see it had nothing like, to be honest, when I listen to him talk, I don't see a Fez. I see a troubled brother. I don't, nobody I've talked to has said anything negative about anybody Moorish. I ain't heard it. I've been listening for it just to see, because he did have a Fez, but nobody's mentioned that. Everybody who saw that brother knew it was something mentally wrong with him. It had nothing to do with any organization he was attached to. So I don't know where the media, I don't know what it's like over the nationally or maybe statewide. I don't know if you guys have heard of anybody attacking Moorish people because of it or questioning. I hadn't heard any of it, to be honest.
No, I haven't.
What's the media question? That's it.
I have heard of. I haven't received, and praise the Lord, I haven't received any threats or anything of nature of that nature. And then this is me personally. Man, I wanted to jump out there just in case.
Right.
Let's not forget, we at home, you know what I'm saying? We live here. You dig what I'm saying? And that's the thing. I wanted to get on this just in case.
Right.
I didn't know, because
get out in front of it.
Yeah. I mean, this was damage control in my mind, because I was thinking about Burks, truth be told. All morning, I'm thinking about Burks. I'm thinking about, man, I can't believe it. I'm looking at the pictures of Burks being posted. I'm like, I can't believe it. I'm like, nah. Only to find out that it's Marcus-Bey. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Bro, I was empty. But I'm thankful for a right mind, because Quran teaches us that Allah gave us the power of the pen. So I couldn't move, but I had to get those words out. And it was my goal. I was trying to get a letter written into all the news medias locally by 4:30.
Well, I gotta be honest here, because DA and I was on Tuesday evening, and this was very puzzling, mind-boggling in a lot of ways, because the deep psychological perception of someone, according to what he himself had posted on his own Facebook page, walking up to a vehicle with two white police officers sitting in the car. And again, I wouldn't have condoned it if he had done it to them. However, you got an individual, Officer Darren Burks, who has a impeccable record of working with young people, taught for nearly 20 years at the Texas Can Academy. And I was sharing this with DA on Tuesday. I said, isn't it ironic that he was sitting in the parking lot where DA and them, actually, he has some affiliation with that organization that help kids over there. What is called, DA, for life?
4 Oak Cliff.
Yeah, 4 Oak Cliff.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a little bit of a silver lining, that he would get executed, killed, however you want to say it, and sitting inside of his vehicle, serving the community, parked in 4 Oak Cliff. It's remarkable, because again, I said the other night, Tuesday evening, I said, we come into this life by Allah's permission, God's permission, and we exit this life by God's permission. But we don't know how we're going to exit this life. And everybody has an appointed term. Every last one of us have an appointed term. So we don't know when that term is. But if it was just him doing a duty, not only in this material life, but in his spiritual life, he had to go up there to check on that building for whatever reason. I see such a strong message behind that. And even though we look at it through these material lens, the eyes, we really don't understand the abstract of it. And the abstract is what the most important life is. I've always said that the abstract life is the most important life. If we only had an understanding, seeing it with our spiritual minds, when God calls the soul back, we don't have a real true understanding on why, but that day or that night, he was going to meet that day or that night So whatever it is, like every last one of us, there's a date out there. And no matter what happens, we're going to get to that date at some point, every last one of us. So I didn't know DA, and I didn't know him, Marcus, brother Darren Burks, excuse me. I didn't know, I never crossed paths with him. That's why I was saying with the outpouring, the things that we heard and all the outpouring cries that we heard, I was just kind of surprised. I knew quite a few people, man, that knew him, and if I had crossed paths, it never caught my attention. And I felt like I told DA on Tuesday, I wished I would have, because when you meet good brothers, man, you want to kind of keep them in your life. And I just hate that he had to go out that way, but God knows best. And we say it all the time. Allahu A'lam, God knows best.
Right.
So I wanted to, like I said, be able to come on here this evening and talk about this. This was a part 2 that we wanted to do, because we got so much. We talked about mental illnesses as well, Brother Bey. We just lost the rapper earlier. I heard about Rich Homie Quan, dead at the age of 34. I'm hearing some things. Maybe he took something and laid down, went to sleep. I really don't know. Haven't searched all of that. They's talking about, did he have some mental illnesses or issues going on? And it just makes me, it puts things in its proper perspective, how we need to really, man, reach out to those that we say that, we care about. And, in this land, that's one of the things when the prophet said that you have 72 hours to check on your brother. That's 3 days. If he's sick, if he's going through something, we don't know, but you have 72 hours to go see about him. And we need to do more of that, especially black men here in these United States. So, but Marcus, I just, like I said, I wanted to give you this platform this evening. I think I have. Oh, no, that was my last video. Yeah, that was my last video. I wanted to show with his dad, man, because I think he did a wonderful job explaining, how he felt, but not showing a whole lot of emotion. But it got to be affecting him, And that was, my heart goes out to him, because I'm saying, just as a father, we wasn't with him every day the way he was, so we really can't. We don't know what he knows. So to have that on his doorstep and somebody knock on your door, he's still a human being at the end of the day, and it's just something just so unfortunate. But go ahead, Marcus.
He found out probably the harshest in regards to what his son had actually, or the alleging of what his son had did. I'm sure it was the harshest, because it just wasn't one police officer that came. And when they came in, they tore the house up. And, as far as, I don't want to speculate, because a lot of it hasn't come out into the public.
Right.
Respectfully.
Right.
But there's a lot of irony. A lot. Y'all remember downtown about 7 years ago?
Right.
Prior to that, we had an incident in East Dallas where it was the same type situation, and I believe 2 paramedics were shot at that incident. I'm only saying this because history repeats itself. And the country has been dealing with the mental health issue publicly and openly for the last 5 years, we'll give or say, because it's more acceptable now because of the public figures who are approaching it and coming out and saying, hey, I need some time off. My mental health is my wealth. But hey, we've been knowing this forever. Each one of us, whether we admit it openly or say it or not, each one of us right now all suffer from PTSD. There's no question. It's just from day one of our first breath from the mother to now, we have,
in some kind of way.
Some kind of way. You might have hey, even if all you've ever done was wreak havoc on a football field. I know where I'm at, so let me try to get back to the sports. Even if all you've ever done is just what they like to say, be a beast, But one day you get blindsided, man. You didn't see it coming. Now they warned you it's gonna happen. Somebody, hey, you playing kickoff, man. Somebody finna catch you one day, man. Just be on the lookout, man. But one day, pow, oh my gosh. That next time you're not really that excited to go out there and play that kickoff because you what? Thinking about that situation from the last time you got blindsided. But as a warrior, we get over it, we get back out there and we keep going. That's part of the game, right? Okay.
Right.
That we deal with as so-called black men in America is not part of the game. We just make it part of the game because we accept it. Right? Saying that, I have a son. Whew. I even have a child that was, Corey Cobb's age, older. So I'm like, I don't want to have the empathy, but I'm a parent. And right now I know that mental health is running rampant in our community.
Another thing that I don't mean to cut you off. Another thing that we gotta think about his father. They're doing something new now. I don't know if it's. I know they do it now as far as mass shootings, like this shooter in Georgia. Yesterday or the other day, 2 days ago.
Thoughts and prayers to Alpharetta. That was a tremendous.
They arrested his father. They came out, interviewed him first, and then I was reading where they arrested him today, just like they did another mass shooter's parents. It was a young guy. He killed some people. They talked about maybe arresting the parents. They ended up arresting the parents. They charged the parents, found the parents guilty, and sentenced the parents. So that's the new trend. So I was wondering. I don't know if it's only mass shootings or it depends on if it's law enforcement, but they're looking for reasons. They're trying to find out now how much these parents knew. Like, how much of this did you know? Because if you knew too much and you didn't report, we're going after you because we can't go out.
We're gonna get you too. Well,
yeah.
Let's not act like this is not a political climate right now.
Right.
Let's not act like that. Right. We got one presidential candidate talking about she finna let the police walk in your house and take your guns. You got anytime, this is the sad thing. Forgive me, but I gotta say this right now. Another reason why I had to jump out there in the media aspect is because it's gonna come down to a political thing. After the funerals, after we lay our brother, after those 3 days of mourning, it's finna come down to the political thing. They finna jump all over it, y'all. Y'all know
it. So?
Oh man,
I don't think so. I think people saw through it. I think people saw the mental. His videos, I think, cleared any organization he was with.
I'm not denying that truth.
Yeah,
but we talking.
That's just my opinion on that. But we'll see.
And it's mine too. It's definitely not facts.
Right.
But I'm looking ahead. I'm looking at 2 weeks from now. I'm looking at the next incident from now. And I'm looking at what we currently are dealing with. We are in a political race.
Right.
And what are they
these issues? Yeah.
These things are going to be coming up. I mean, I'm questioning. This is me. I know certain things and I understand security, comfort, but y'all tell me. We couldn't hold my brother's funeral at Paul Quinn.
Yeah.
You saying did they or could we?
No.
He's saying we could have.
We sure should have.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah.
We couldn't hold his services at Friendship West.
Yep.
So are we already not?
He was a member of OCBC.
Come on.
Yeah.
So
I know they had some candle vigil I think this evening, if I'm not mistaken. And I know they have I think the Water Church and some other stuff.
The services are being held.
I gotta look at that. But going back to what you was talking about in regards to the political climate, These are going to be hot button issues, most definitely, because you're talking about this, like you said again, the situation that occurred at the school down in Georgia. Once again, you know, they're talking about these guns and kids getting hold to these guns, and then this situation here in Dallas, which did make national news.
Yes,
I had
sir.
a buddy of mine up in Boston was he and I was talking about it, and so that made national news. And
Yes,
then there
sir.
was some other things just with well, this was a little bit different, but still another officer that got killed in the Houston area. And so we know that this is going to be a topic of conversation, and it's going to be, this is, you know, we're living in very peculiar times. The days are sorting out, as Allah says in the Quran. The
Right.
days are sorting out,
I agree.
and it's going to cause people to make some very, very tough decisions, and hopefully make those decisions with balance. That's my whole thing about this whole political election and what's going on, is that we make decisions with balance. You know, because there's a way with this media machine. They are the great spinners. They better than the R&B group, the spinners of the 70s. You know, they are the great spinners, and they try to entangle our minds and get us to a point so emotionally worked up, because they know we don't make better decisions when we are worked up and emotionally. And that's one of the things, man, I said years ago when God guided me to this way, on this straight path, that it invited me intellectually. See, when I was brought up in the church, man, my mother, I remember going, it wasn't no, do I think I'm gonna go? No, my mother made us go. You understand? And was actively involved in church, but it was all emotional as a kid growing up. It wasn't really appealing to my intellect, and men want things to be appealed to our minds and not our emotions.
Yes, sir.
And that's really the you know, that's the narrative more than anything. So I've always taken the lead on that in my own personal life, and I try to, you know, have that balance that Allah tells us to have, because again, you get pulled in all these different directions, then you'll miss the mark. But there's a lot of things to continue to talk about in this subject, and we need to have more and more conversation and platforms and dialogue such as this, and not wait to something, you know, tragedy happen.
Let me say one thing, if I can, in closing, man. I don't want to because I don't want to linger it. And then what I've tried not to do is dishonor either one of the names. These are still lives, and we still talking about lives here. These still have families, right? But a minute ago, when we were talking about the caliphate, I put in the chat, and it's pronounced Futa Jalin. Futa Jalin was from India. Futa Jalin is, in modern days term, it's a theocratic monarchy, but it was a caliphate movement. It was a caliphate movement. Futa Jalin is an example of where I currently am in regards to Moorish Science Temple of America. It allows us to be a wheel within a wheel, and it allows us to represent a Rotarian complexion, which means that we are to be working intricately inside what's already functioning. But we're supposed to be doing it to make our people better. This is the purpose of being a vicegerent of the earth. This is why Allah rewards those that gives back, right? So I put that in there because this was not ever supposed to happen from this standpoint. But we don't know that date and time, and we don't know what Allah knows.
And let me say this right quick too, because one of the things that Police Chief Garcia said, and I thought that was very wise, and I can appreciate him saying what he said when they brought up the name about the, you know, the reporter asked, well, was he a part of the Moorish Science Temple, this type of thing, you know? And I like, and this is not verbatim, but I recall him saying, he said, look, he said, this is an ongoing investigation, still early, but he said that we're not going to, you know, basically paint the organization with a broad brush, because we wouldn't want, it's just like when one officer goes out there and does something, you can't paint the whole entire department with a broad brush. And I thought that was brilliantly said in a time of high emotions. That lets me know that's what you look from a person who's in leadership, not to fan the flames, but to come out and find, the real reason, ascertain the truth that the law says in the Quran. What is the facts? What is the fiction versus what is the facts? What is fiction? What is nonfiction? And I'm hoping that, just like in the movie, The Matrix, in the end, in the trilogy, which we know, if we look at the anagram of Neo represents the one because it's an anagram. And when we look at that, we know that the machines and the people had to come together in order for us to exist. And that's the same thing in law enforcement. That's the same thing as us being a part of the shareholders of this corporation. We have to come together. And like I'm on the record, I already said I was a criminal justice major and mass communications major in college. And one of the things that, I'll say to the day, we have to have checks and balances. We have to have checks and balances, because if not, we'll have tyranny, chaos, and a whole bunch of other things. So it's not law in and of itself, but it's those individuals who abuse or misuse law. See, everything gets used, but it's when we misuse something.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we have to get back to, are the basic,
Yes,
the fundamentals of how to execute law appropriately and apply it appropriately to the lawbreaker. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And you can't give a certain group a slap on the hand or a risk, but then you throw brothers in mass incarceration, throw them in the prison for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, only to find out that they didn't even do the crime, because certain prosecutors hid information.
Yes,
and there's
sir.
a lot to talk about just on this subject alone.
I definitely will keep you informed as I prepare to present the city with the outreach program that I'm putting together. I definitely will need your help, because I got a few things related, so I will let you know. But, I had to thank you, just for even opening up the platform to be able to express those things. So I thank you. I pray Allah grant Officer Burks an immediate entrance into paradise. We all have that date and time. And
Absolutely.
and respectfully, pray Allah forgive Corey Marcus-Bey for all his sins, and allow him that time, when that time comes, to enter into paradise. For we all will face Allah, regardless of what we've done on earth. And Brother Daryl the G, I mean, I pray that they don't make it a political thing. I really do. But I just think it's the climate. I think it's the time that we're in. I think because there's so much at stake. You got $50 million cop city being built at UNT. They're going to tell you we need more police officers out there, and I'm going to tell them I need to train more young black men so that this don't happen again. So again, if those things are coming to light, let's at least have some type of game plan and structure.
Right. Yeah,
and,
it makes sense.
I appreciate y'all, man, and I definitely will be in contact with you all. I mean, I want to go out real quick, man, to try to liven up the mood. I want to go out, man, and broadcast live from some high school football, man. I think that's where I want to be with y'all, man. I want to get out there with y'all, man, and get to see who the next great players are. I think we should smash on DeSoto, me personally. Those are my boys. I think they doing their thing over there. But I mean, I'm proud of my brother Jabril, man. I really am. I watch you from afar, you know what I'm saying? And I know that I don't see you enough. I know I don't make enough Jumas, man. I'll be out on the clock, but I'm proud of you, man.
understand.
Gratitude for you for inviting me out. And I definitely want to get in tune with y'all, man, and start rotating some more. Just get back out in the community and do what we need to do as men.
And we appreciate you. Yeah, we certainly appreciate you, hopping on with us, Brother Bey. It was definitely an honor and a pleasure, man, to be able to have you to come on to the show and just to give a different perception for those who may have never even heard of the Moore Science Temple, to make sure that they understand what you guys are about in that organization, and get a real understanding and sentiments, how you all truly feel about this tragic that happened to Officer Darren Burks. And like I said, we'll have you back on again. You know, again, just tell a friend, man. Y'all make sure those who are coming on, who listen to us, if you're out there listening to us, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, the notification and share button for us. We're still growing the channel. We have, again, over 150 something subs right now, and we're closing in on these 100 videos where we'll get to that sweet spot on YouTube. So we want to continue to bring you all positive content. This show is about the culture. It's about what's going on. We talk about sports. We also talk about things that are very sensitive in nature to talk about, and this was one of them. And so we look forward to continuing to bring all types of positive message. And Brother Bey, let's hold each other accountable, hold each other to that. Let's continue to work in the community. What platforms you have, you're more than welcome to come back onto the show and speak about that, and we can get together. I'm still working on I Am Student Athlete. Daryl has his program, the basketball organization that he's affiliated with. We're talking about doing some things with that as well. So hopefully collectively, man, we'll come together and do more of it. So meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and, close this out real quick. I thank you for coming on, but I got to get Daryl's picks for these college and NFL games real quick, and we're going to close out the show. So I appreciate you again, my brother.
All right,
and,
thanks for coming, man. Nice to meet you, brother.
Hey, man, I love y'all, man. I continue support. I'm gonna call both of y'all tomorrow so I can get them picks, man, so I can do my thing over there.
Okay.
I need to know what's going on in the Pac-10 anyway, man. Hey, I love y'all, man. Stay safe, stay healthy. Man. I'll see y'all sooner than later.
Right.
Like right, brother. May God's peace and blessing be upon you. Like I say, we'll do this again. We'll do it again.
Sooner than later, man.
All right.
Okay. Peace, man. Have a good evening.
Peace.
That's Brother Marcus-Bey. And I said, this guy been working with the community, man, for nearly over 20 years with young people, and even taught math at the Sister Clara Muhammad School back in the early 2000s. So I've known him for quite a long time. And I just wanted to have him on the show to share that information and share his side of things. So DA, before we close out the show, I gave my picks, man, for the NFL before I brought Brother Bey on, but I want you to go ahead and so it won't be no miss.
All right. KC tonight. Then what's the next game? What's tomorrow?
You got the Ravens. Okay, you said you had the Ravens. I know that was before the game even started. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I changed my pick before the game came on.
Yeah. So you had the Ravens. So we got the Cowboys and the Browns. And I said earlier, I'm going with the Browns.
What?
Yeah, and I want that look right there. I want that look right there. That's the look I want. Because I said I'm gonna surprise that Joker with this one.
Man, I gotta rewind this tape. You went with the Browns?
I'm going for the Browns, man. I'm going for the Browns.
Man,
I'm not gonna go against the Cowboys too many times this year, but I just, them coming off of playoff. Well, they came off a playoff loss, but the way they defense, I think they had the #1 defense last year in the NFL, opening up with Deshaun Watson. I think we still got a couple of, things. We missing Bland. Cowboys have a time to win. It won't surprise me at all. But I'm just gonna go with the Browns. It's just it's opening day. I'm gonna go with the Cleveland Browns. Who you like?
Cleveland. Tomorrow night's game. Hit that one. You got that one on there?
That's Green Bay and Philly. So you got Cleveland?
I got Cleveland, of course.
You took okay. Tomorrow is Green Bay and Philly. And of course, we playing that in Brazil. I took Green Bay in that.
I got Philly on that.
You got Philly?
Green Bay is a fluke. I got Philly.
Okay. I almost went with Philly, man, but I'm gonna go with Green Bay. Then we got the Texans going into Indianapolis on Sunday.
Texans.
Okay, I got the Texans in that one also. Then we got the Cardinals going into Buffalo.
If it was in Arizona, I'd take Arizona. But I roll with Buffalo in Buffalo.
I'm gonna take the Cardinals on that one. Yeah. On the road.
It might be a coin flip, but I'm just taking Buffalo because they're at home.
Yeah, I can see that too. So then we got Tennessee Titans going into the Chicago Bears. I'm taking the Titans.
You taking the Titans with all that adrenaline that's gonna be in that stadium? Man, I got Chicago, man.
You got Chicago?
Yeah, man. I think the Titans have a quarterback problem. Who's the quarterback?
I just kind of think. I kind of think Caleb Williams is gonna get kind of baptized first game.
No.
You don't think so? Well, I'm gonna go.
I got
Wait a minute. The Titans got a new coach, right? They got a new head coach.
I got Chicago.
Man, I'm gonna stay with the Titans, man. I should take this and go with the Bears. I'm gonna stay with the Titans. And then last but not least, the Jets and the 49ers. Of course, I'm gonna take the Jets. Welcome back, Aaron Rodgers.
What do you mean? Of course, you're gonna take the Jets. What does that mean?
I mean, I'm gonna take them because
like,
I think
like what do you mean? Of course, I'm gonna take the Jets, man. You gotta explain that.
Well, I'm taking the Jets because Aaron Rodgers was out. I think he got
out a whole year with Achilles.
Whole year Achilles. I understand.
In San Francisco.
His body. Plus, the Gang Green, man, they got a tough defense. So I'm gonna stick with that pick. I'm gonna take the Jets over the Niners.
Man, I can't believe you said, of course I'm taking the Jets. Man, give me the Niners all day. Game ain't even gonna be close. Aaron Rodgers might not even make it through the whole game.
Well, go on. Well, you gonna take your 49ers?
You already know it. That's of course.
All right.
Aaron Rodgers ain't played a football game in a year and a half.
All right, we got 5 college games. Starting with Texas going into Michigan. Of course, I got Texas. Who you like? Are you on the road going into Michigan? I'm sure this time, DA.
I got Texas.
You taking Texas? Okay, we got Colorado going into Nebraska. I know I should take Nebraska, but when that kid came out and said what he said, that Shedeur Sanders is not like the quarterback they have, and they asked him why, he said because our quarterback is a dog. Or he said something about I couldn't hardly hear him, but it's like he said Shedeur wasn't a dog.
You can't bulletin board
material. And that's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Why would you even say that?
I would have went with Nebraska until he said that, so I had to take Colorado.
Because he'll just do whatever he'll crank it up a notch. Just he'll run more. He don't care if he walks away with a broken ankle. If he gets the win, once you say something like that, that's him. He just like his daddy when it comes to that. Got Colorado, man.
Taking Colorado.
I would have taken Nebraska too until you told me that.
Now this is kind of interesting. Tennessee is going on the road to play North Carolina State. I think North Carolina State is ranked 24th, and they're playing them on the road in Raleigh, North Carolina. Tennessee Vols. Who you like?
If your ranking is 24, 25, you really ain't got a ranking. So give me Tennessee and that big jolly green giant, that jolly orange giant they got as a quarterback. I got Tennessee.
I'm gonna take Tennessee also. And then what about Oklahoma State? Is going into Arkansas. This might be a little tricky game. Oklahoma State, I think, is ranked 12th, 13th. I'm gonna go ahead and take Oklahoma State.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. And last but not least, the final game is Georgia Tech and Syracuse. Georgia Tech knocked out Florida State first week, and they ranked number 23. So who you like?
They ain't saying much beating Florida State after looking at that second game. But who's at home?
Georgia Tech, and then they go on to Syracuse.
Syracuse ain't. I'll take Georgia Tech. They coming out.
Yay! I'm gonna take Syracuse in that. I was hoping you would say that. I really did.
That's cool.
I was hoping. Well, that's going to conclude another episode of the replay where we're still trying to make your day. We want to thank you guys for coming on. We want to thank our guest, Marcus-Bey, for joining us. And also, we want to thank you guys for jumping on with us. And always remember, we're going to be on this thing Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. So don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and that share button. Okay, help us out, guys. It's free. All you got to do is just hit the like, subscribe, the share, and the notification button. No big deal, right? So help us out, and we sure will appreciate it. And we hope to see you all again. So until the end, thank you for joining us. And we're going to go back and get back to this game. But always keep God first. Thank you all for joining us. Good night to you.
Peace.